Greetings, beings of the internet. My name is Luke, and welcome back. It's that time of year again where school is just getting out, but I want to take a second and go back to the videos that I have seen in the past few weeks. Now, I'm sure you guys have probably seen the trend where students are going around their schools and destroying Chromebooks and calling themselves inventors, or what some people will say, point 0.4 GPA activities. And before we get too far into it, I know my voice is a little bit rough right now, but I'm going to try to keep it as clear as possible. But anyways, these students have found numerous ways to destroy their Chromebooks, and I will show you some before I get to the most problematic method of destroying them. But let's be honest, this entire trend is horrendous, no matter how they're choosing to ruin their Chromebooks. Some of these videos that I'll show you will fall under the other trend of the Chromebook durability test, but it's still destruction of school property nonetheless. Here's the first example. Now, I can't really explain to you how that Chromebook broke from that headbutt. Maybe his fingers loosened it up, but I know that those school Chromebooks aren't the most durable things ever. But I really don't understand the point of this. I get not wanting to do your homework, especially what it looked like they were doing with sine and cosine. I can't even remember how to do any of that stuff. By doing this, you are only costing yourself money or your parents money. But I know if I was caught doing this, my parents would make me pay for that. And from what I remember hearing, those Chromebooks are worth anywhere to $300 to $500, at least where I went to school. Now, here's a few more examples because I have an entire folder of videos saved like this.
Got the F students. The F students are inventors. They're so fucking creative that they couldn't sit in class. Because whatever people were trying to put in their head, the F students are inventors. They're so fucking creative that they couldn't sit in class. Because whatever.
Now, that first video where they put it on the railroad tracks, that's a literal crime that they filmed and posted, which, from what I'm reading, it can result in a fine anywhere from $100 to $500, which there goes even more money. And with the speed that trains go, anything that you put on the tracks can become projectiles. And also, from what I've seen, if a person gets hurt from you doing this kind of stuff, that can result in felony charges. That's another fun thing just for an internet trend. So that could have cost them a lot more than just replacing the Chromebook, all for a dumb internet trend and some approval from their equally not so bright peers. And the last video where they were destroying things in the bathroom, that can bring consequences to everybody at the school. And I don't know about you guys, but where I went to school and when that stupid devious lick trend was going around, we had 6 main bathrooms, 3 for boys, 3 for girls, 1 of each on each floor. But when that was happening, one of those bathrooms at my school had stuff destroyed, like entire stall doors or floor tiles being messed up. Now, this had caused my school to close off that bathroom to everybody for a week or two, causing everyone the inconvenience outside of the dumbasses who took part in this trend. And for those who might be disabled, that can be an even bigger inconvenience if, like, the elevators and stuff aren't working, and it can take you a lot more time to get to the bathroom, which either takes away at your learning time in class or can cause you to be late getting to class. Now, going back to talking about actual crimes coming from these trends, there are a few specific ways that people have found to destroy their Chromebooks that can cause them to smoke or catch on fire and potentially have a chance of exploding. Here's 2 examples that I found. Now, the main method I see is people poking lead, graphite, whatever you want to call it, or things like paper clips into the charging port or other ports on the Chromebooks, and this will cause it to start smoking in some cases. That is because this method causes the computer to short circuit, which can cause it to heat up and potentially smoke or catch on fire. Now, the people who posted that video, I went into their comments, and they even said that their main goal was to make the Chromebook explode. I mean, yay, let's potentially harm ourselves or others for an internet trend. Now, the other video that I shown might give the Chromebook a higher chance of it exploding or catching on fire, especially if they pierce the battery. Now, other videos that I've seen, but I forgot to save, schools have actually had to evacuate because of this trend, because there are Chromebooks that are catching on fire in classrooms. Other crimes, or almost crimes, that I have seen people committing is by setting off sprinklers in their school and flooding an entire area of the building. And I've also seen people trying to start fires by putting things in outlets. And most of the people doing these trends are in high school, and I think by that time you should know better than to be shoving things in outlets. These trends seem to come from people who have a lack of basic respect for property that is not theirs, and I have a good feeling that these same students are the ones saying shit like, oh, the teachers are always mad at me. Like, no fucking shit. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And you're not cool or funny for destroying property and almost harming others. And we wonder why teachers are quitting at such a fast rate, and it's probably not just because they don't get paid enough, but it's also students' behavior. It has become horrible, and it's not just the destruction of property, it's how they treat teachers or other adult figures. I worked for a summer camp and an after-school program for 2 years, and some of these kids were horrible. There were a few times where my coworkers noticed that I was overwhelmed, and they told me to step away. I would go to a bathroom or closet and cry because they were so bad. I had kids while I was working there throw things at me, tell me things I said were stupid, or just flat out tell me I was stupid. And they would also just completely destroy like the furniture that we had for them and everything and not seem to care. I got a little off track with that tangent there, but I like to share some of my own experiences. But back to the trends, they are just incredibly dumb, unsafe, and a huge waste of money and resources. Along with that, trends like these can also take away the experience for those that actually want to learn, and then resources are taken away from everybody if schools decide to punish everybody instead of just like that few group of students that was actually partaking in this stuff. And this can also affect the students who might use school as an escape from their home life, and they just want to feel comfortable outside of home, and then these other kids are taking advantage of that time to be completely destructive or obnoxious. And I know some of these students probably behave like this, do not receive consequences from their parents, because I know from when I worked at a day camp, some of the kids that we had there, we would tell them about what their kids were doing, and they just would not seem to care. But I'm not fully blaming this on parents because I know kids don't listen sometimes. And I do feel bad for the parents that are trying, but their kids continue to be disrespectful. But also, in a time where social media is such a big thing, and most younger kids do have it, I feel like parents or educators need to be more aware of the content kids are consuming online and educate them about the consequences of trends like this to try and deter them from it. But I know that can be hard sometimes, and you can't always monitor what kids are watching. One idea that I have for this is like if they implement it in schools where around the age that kids start getting phones, they could have more education on social media, like holding assemblies, even though I know most people don't pay attention to those. But anything that can educate young audiences and try to lower these trends from becoming such a popular thing. These are just some of my ideas and opinions on these trends. Feel free to comment your thoughts, opinions, or experiences down below. And subscribe if you like. I'm going to try to get into an uploading schedule at least every Friday. That's all I have for now. I'm going to return back to my cat videos so I can have a moment of enjoyment away from these trends. And that could be an idea for a lighthearted video in the future, as cat videos and different cats are becoming popular on the internet. But that's all from me for now. Enjoy your next internet endeavor.